This video is just us flying home, and isn't it exciting that getting here and all the fighting have cost us half of our fuel already? I wonder if that's going to be a problem. The superflankers we've met today are a fairly new plane with a few features that sound utterly ridiculous. For example, they can use horizontal thrust vectoring to perform a flat 360 turn without losing forward speed. On an unrelated note, their phased array radar is installed on a flexible mount and can physically rotate to further increase the already wide scanning angle.
I'm spied! Defending!
Get back here.
I know! Starburst, how about a Victor home?
Target is at bearing 225.
Gargoyle 2.
The superflankers radar even lets them scan sort of over the plane's shoulder, detecting targets at their 8 or 4 o'clock. I wonder if they can actually spin to fire missiles at those. There is a flight taking out the last flankers, by the way. And the enemies are gone. Right. Anyway, after everything I've told you about the F-35, you might be wondering how this thing even got to mass production in its current state. Well, Lockheed have gotten very good at sneaking their fuck-ups under the radar. Here's an example. Up to and including May 2013, the statistics for faults detected in the F-35 split this way: 2/3 inherent, 1/3 induced. Inherent means they are caused by design flaws and you can't do anything about them. Induced means human error on the part of people using the plane. Come June 2013, the statistic became reversed: 1/3 inherent. Those SAMs don't really affect us. Anyway, this sudden jump in the quality of the F-35 eventually got people interested, and an investigation was conducted. And it turns out that instead of fixing the fighter, Lockheed has fixed the statistics by recategorizing the faults. So a number of problems previously reported as inherent were now officially induced, even though they were definitely design issues. Another example, the official statistics for the mean time between the failure of landing gear tires are good.
Black Wolf flight, we show you at waypoint 4.
Copy waypoint, Starburst.
Gargoyle flight, we show you at waypoint 4. Target is at bearing 165.
Copy on the course adjustment, Starburst.
In the opinion of the people who actually work with the F-35, the tires are crap that quickly wears out and has to be replaced frequently. Normally, every replacement of a worn-out tire is counted as a fault, but not on the F-35. The only time Lockheed counts tire failure on this bird is when one ruptures under a plane, usually during the landing. So if you keep replacing the tires all the damn time, the statistic will actually make them look reliable. Lockheed Martin have elevated their creative bookkeeping into a method.
Black Wolf 1, Starburst, picture.
Black Wolf 1, copy. Stand by.
The F-35 is fixed in stages, which turn into different blocks. They're at least on Block 2 now, maybe Block 3 is finally out. So suppose they discover a design flaw in some part and are going to fix it in the next stage. From that moment on, Lockheed starts to pretty much ignore all other occurrences of the same fault, and every other fault that is found in the same part. The motivation being that they are replacing the part eventually anyway, so why smear the beautiful statistics for mean time between failures? As you can imagine, this method makes it easier to meet the reliability quotas specified in contracts, but doesn't really help to quickly iron out the kinks of the plane. Although it seems now the best way to iron out its kinks is to run a steamroller over it. I bet the US Marine Corps is very excited about all these developments. Their F-35s are supposed to officially enter service this year already. It's going to be a disaster, isn't it?
Black Wolf flight, we show you at waypoint 5.
Black Wolf 1, Starburst, picture.
Black Wolf 1, copy. Stand by. Mace flight, we show you at waypoint 5.
Starburst, copy waypoint data.
Did Black Wolf get their picture the last time they asked for it?
Gargoyle flight, we show you at waypoint 5. Target is at bearing 135.
Copy on the course adjustment, Starburst.
The Pentagon is absolutely loving the polishing of the F-35 extending into infinity. First, they've got to pay for the development of the Lightning. Then they pay for every actual plane they receive, and then... whenever Lockmart comes up with a new round of fixes, they fight the Pentagon tooth and nail to be paid for applying those vital updates to the plane they'd already shipped. If the F-35 were a video game, it would be both early access and pay to patch, and the Pentagon would be the suckers who kickstarted it and pre-ordered it for the entire family. Doesn't sound too exciting when you put it this way. Oh, I don't like our fuel counter one bit. I should stick to the cruise speed, which in this game is what you get when you set the throttle to 85%. Are we going to make it? There is another PS2 flying game where limited fuel is a factor, Lethal Skies, but I don't have a copy, yet.
Bingo.
You are bingo fuel, Gargo 1. Be careful.
Our bingo is official now. What do I do? Should I dive to get there faster? Should I climb and hope that fuel consumption will drop with altitude? Should I simply fly slower? I'm going to try a bit of everything.
Gargoyle flight, we show you at waypoint 6. Target is at bearing 105.
You copy the position, Starburst.
The person grounded. Jackknife, what's the dope from that base?
Jackknife to air units. Getting a status report from Stingray now. Stand by.
Stingray 2, does that look like a hangar to you? So this is where those flankers were coming from.
Stingray 1, copy your report. Great work. Hold position, support forces headed in. Mace flight, we show you at waypoint 6.
Roger, waypoint 6, Starburst.
Black Wolf flight, we show you at waypoint 6.
Black Wolf 1.
Air units, Comanche reports resistance to the facility neutralized. The base is ours.
Gargoyle 2, great news, Jackknife. Thanks.
So, unlike the F-22, the F-35 was made so that it could be exported. They were planning to sell it to the closest NATO allies in Israel, but with all the delay, some of the buyers started looking for replacements, fourth-generation planes that were readily available. You know, birds in hand. Also, with the rising costs of getting the Lightning into a ready state, Lockmart started raising the price to maintain their profit margins.
You are bingo fuel, Gargoyle 1. Be careful.
Seeing the new price, some of the buyers started reducing their orders. Seeing that, Lockmart realized that their projected profits are dropping, so they increased the price again. At which point more buyers said fuck this and decided they don't need that many F-35s.
Gargoyle flight, we show you at waypoint 7. Target is at bearing 030.
Roger, Starburst. Turning on to final.
Gargoyle flight, state.
Gargoyle 2 is configured final. Commencing.
They haven't quite hit the point when the F-35 costs infinite money and is sold to absolutely no one, but they're getting there. The future looks grim for the Lightning, but the Pentagon can't axe the whole thing because with all the investment it's already too big to fail. Speaking of failure, I've managed to reduce the fuel consumption by cutting the throttle, but we still have the little question of landing onto the carrier. There is no ILS, no landing help whatsoever.
Target is at bearing 180. Black Wolf flight, we show you at waypoint 7.
Roger, waypoint 7, Starburst.
Mace flight, we show you at waypoint 7.
Steel Mace
1.
Oh, this is going to be great.